Here we go. this is great. Wait on this forever. Okay, ready?
Everybody's cell phones on.
Oh yeah, cell phones on.
Even my watch is on theater mode. Welcome to the In the Middle podcast, a podcast where we talk about every avenue of life, because life really takes place in the middle, not the beginning, not the end. How do we navigate the middle? Welcome to episode 1 of a brand new podcast called In the Middle. My name is Des. Here we are in Tempe, Arizona. And let's go on a journey together over however long we need to go. Looking forward to it. Zoran?
My name is Zoran. It's so very nice to be here with y'all. Podcast of In the Middle. I want to just take time to get to know each other a little bit and have the people get to know us.
All right.
So where are you from?
There's a journey there.
Okay.
Let me give the short version of a long journey, because I got a couple of decades on you, brother.
Yeah, you do.
So I have British parents.
Okay.
They emigrated to Australia whilst they were in Australia.
Where in Australia?
So they emigrated to the state of South Australia. So the nearest city would be Adelaide.
Okay.
When they were there, they were, I show up. I show up. We know how that happens.
Yeah.
So I was born in a small town called Port Augusta in South Australia, near Adelaide.
Okay.
And then when I was like 3 or 4, they moved to Sydney, Australia.
Okay.
And so then I was there till I was almost 8 years old. And then they moved back to northwest England, city called Preston, near to Manchester, Liverpool, the great music and the great football teams of the world, Liverpool being the great team.
Any big bands from that town?
I think you know that the Beatles were Liverpool. I think you know that even Manchester had a huge music scene with the bands like Oasis, and they were huge in the 90s, and venues like the Hacienda that were significant, and there was a lot of things happening in and around Liverpool, Manchester. They're blue collar cities historically.
Okay.
And then I was there in that region of the world till I was 43 years old. So to give away my age, I'm now 53. So anyway, but there's a lot of in the middle in those stories. A lot of in the middle in those stories. But yeah, that's the basic. I'm married.
Okay.
Been married for 31 years.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Depending on when you're listening to this. So I was married in June of 1992. And now I have 4 adult children, currently 2 grandchildren, but another one not far away. So there's and that also has got a lot of in the middle. Yeah. With all of that.
That's in the middle. Great.
How about you, man?
I'm from Cincinnati. I moved here when I was 24. I have a lot of in the middle too. Parents, from Cincinnati, moved here to Phoenix 24 to play music. And I've just been playing music and producing all around, and then just being a part of local churches, and I love it. So not a long history as you yet, but we're still making it along the way. I'm married. I have 2 children and 1 on the way. Yeah. No grandchildren. Yeah. Not yet. My kids are babies, so I got a while to go on that.
You got a while.
And just happy to be here. Arizona's a great place to be.
It is.
It's really a great place to be.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. And when we moved here, the good thing about Phoenix and the metropolitan Phoenix area is the majority of people are not native here.
I know that no one is from here.
So everybody feels like it's home because there's so many people migrated here.
It's like when you meet someone from here, it's like an anomaly. It's wow, that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, we keep saying in the middle, this is the start of this podcast. Yeah. Let's give definition to what this means. Yeah. So what does in the middle mean?
Yeah. So it's a big phrase that's been resonating in me for quite some time now. We focus on starting something new, or we focus on achieving a goal. Yeah. We focus on leaving somewhere, arriving somewhere. But, they are very, very small numbers of days in our whole life where we do something brand new or we arrive at a goal or destination. Life change real life, real highs and lows of life are found in the middle.
Yeah.
And how we navigate the middle really determines the condition of our whole lives. And so I have come across people, even in my own life, in my own family, where people have said, I feel a little lost right now, or I feel stuck right now. They're not stuck at the start, and they're not stuck on arrival. They're not lost at the start or lost on arrival. They're lost or stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's where people maybe set off and then you find them quitting something. It's all about in the middle. And I have seen so many situations where people have made right turns, wrong turns, bad choices, good choices. They always take place somewhere in the middle.
So they're not even at their destination or where they started. They're in the middle.
Yeah.
Can you give us a personal story of kind of what you're meaning, just to even attach that? You know what I mean?
And I think one of the things about this podcast as we go on in multiple episodes is my life is littered with stories of in the middle.
Yeah.
It really, really is.
Yeah.
And even in the years that I've lived, I can define some starting points, but the middles, they're just gazillions of middles.
Yeah.
So let me give like one example of maybe more recent in my life when we felt called to leave England and move to the United States. There was a journeying of, is this right or not? And maybe I'll go into the full details of the full story in another episode, but there's the journey of, is this right? Is this what we need to do? When we came to the conclusion of this is right, this is what we need to do, that was the decision.
Yeah.
We didn't just get up the next day and leave.
Right.
There was a journey that we had to do. And from decision point to move day for us, it was like almost a year.
So just to dive in a little bit even more detail, like, if you don't mind, what was the journey like? You know, we're talking about in the middle. I think I want to just be able to, and even I can share some stories a little bit too, but what was that journey like to finally now you're on the plane on your way to America? What are those landmarks for you? You know what I mean?
So you make a decision in life to make a step, a move, then you have to tell people. Some people you tell go, that's cool. The majority of people you tell go, I don't like that.
Because change is not.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to them. And so we faced some obstacles, barriers, pushback.
So this is the left turn and right turn that you're talking about.
And it's like, hey, and so you've made an internal decision, a heartfelt decision. You then communicate that with the people who matter most.
Yeah.
But then the ripple goes out. And then it's where you get pushback, you get disagreement. You discover that people who you thought would be on your journey in life long-term suddenly exit. They don't agree with your next step.
Yeah.
Does that mean does that mean you got it wrong? And then you have the things out of your control. So for us, with immigration, you know, and having to get paperwork and get approvals and all of that's not a quick journey. That's not a quick journey.
Are you still in England when you have to go through all of those
100%. 100%.
You can't leave until all of that is...
No, I mean, you can come visit on a tourist thing like people do, but in terms of relocating your life and all of that, it takes time. So then some of that's out of your control. So then you're in the waiting game. And is this going to be days, weeks, months? And there's no timeline. And as the months roll on, you've got those naysayers going, oh, well, maybe you made the wrong decision. Maybe you shouldn't have gone. Maybe you meant to stay here. Maybe. And then you're transitioning. Our kids were, at the time of decision were 10 to 16-year-olds.
Okay.
When we moved, they were 11 to 17-year-olds. They've got their peers, they've got their friends, they've got their journeys. Uprooting. Yeah. They're uprooting from everything they've ever known. So there's so much at stake, but you know you had to leave But the arrival point was unknown.
Yeah.
It was an unknown destination. So in the middle time, you've got to then go, so how do I navigate this? How do I navigate this? And for us, we had to keep coming back to the why. Keep coming back to, this is why we are going. And for us, that why was a sense of calling. That why was, depending on where you are as a listener here, that why was God said it.
Yeah.
All the reasons to stay. We did a for and against list, pros and cons.
Yeah.
All the reasons to stay, big list to stay, big list. Reasons to go, 1. God said.
Yeah.
Like God said. And so you navigate that. So were there human moments of doubt, human moments of, did we hear this? Is this right or not? All of those were very, very real. And had we allowed circumstances and other people's opinions to dictate what we were going to do, we may not be sat where we are right now.
Yeah, I can relate to you from moving as a young man from Cincinnati to Phoenix, Arizona, and being in my house the entire time, and having to tell those people that I'm leaving, and I didn't have to go through customs like you did. I can't imagine what that's like, but even telling my mom, who's I've been in a home with up until 24 years of my life, family members, all of my friends, I'm leaving now. There was a considerable number of pushback for this goal. But I think what's more important, what I'm trying to get to is I moved out for the sake of music. What did you move to America for?
And that is the weirdest thing, because it was simply God said, go there.
So you had no plans, a job, had no reason?
That unfolded. So we were offered a position. So our gateway into the United States came through South Carolina.
Okay.
And so a church there invited us to join that team.
Yeah.
But there'd been some rumblings, but then that we believe that you are being called to this nation, and here's an invitation, and here is a position for you to step into. So there was a landing point for step 1, but that journey also involved leaving everything behind. Like leaving everything behind. We literally packed up our whole lives, and if it didn't fit in a moving box, it didn't come. And we were confined to an amount of boxes. So everything, no furniture came, no...
You're just starting...
Everything, we left everything behind. And it was like newlyweds landing in a new land, but we weren't newlyweds. We'd been married for 20 plus years, and we had 4 kids going through critical seasons of their life. Yeah. And like you said earlier,
for those of you, whether you're there or not, we are hosted by Grace Community Church, and this is a podcast where God affects a lot of our decisions, and He's a part of our life, and we are 2 Christian men. So wherever you sit in that, I just want to encourage people on this first podcast that this journey is going to be a part of Christ. And like I said before, we're hosted by Grace Community Church, and I'm so happy that they're able to let us host here. It's fantastic. But in that, I think this in the middle is going to be a lot of, I would say, definitions or determinations of biblical teachings in this podcast that help us get this unstuck. Can you walk us through what that was like, where God made Himself present in the seasons of when you made this dramatic move in the middle? What teachings did you learn in that?
I mean, some of my friends and people who are listening to this know this story, but ultimately, God spoke loudest to my wife on this journey. So we have this opportunity. We're presented with this offer. Come, move over here, move your family over here. Here we go. That's really nice. Then we have the option of, do we go or do we not go? we then decided, me and my wife's Mel, we then decided to spend a whole month discerning, praying, reading the scriptures, listening to people to go, is this yes or is this no with this option? Is this a yes or a no? So then we independently were reading through a book in the Bible called the Book of Acts, which is really about the early church. And we thought that was appropriate. It's new beginnings, new church. Let's just read it independently. I'm reading it. My wife's reading it, just to discern, okay, what do we feel God is saying to us with this invitation?
Individually or as
individually?
Okay, got it. Yeah.
So we're going at our own pace.
Okay.
We're going through that whole month. We're getting towards that month. It was the September time. And it was, do we go? Do we not go? I'm getting this leaning as I'm reading through that. Yes, we need to go. We need to go. So I'm saying to my wife, okay, this is where I'm feeling what we are being drawn to this. And she said this. She said, I don't care. I don't care what you think. There's no way I am going to be able to take our family, our 4 children, and leave everything we've ever known. She'd never lived more than 12 miles from her parents' home her whole life.
Wow.
Her whole life.
Wow.
Never more than 12 miles away. You know, I at this point, I'm living 5 miles from my parents. We'd never lived any further away apart from that, our whole life. And she's like, it needs to be a bit more than you just have this feeling, Des, that you believe we're being called to go there. I need to hear this myself.
Yeah.
At which point I went, I agree. Because we have disunity otherwise.
Yep.
When the bad days come, if we go there based on me, when the bad days come, we don't need the conflict of one or the other going, well, I never wanted to in the first place. We needed unity on this. So we're journeying through it, independently going through the Book of Acts. And then there's this particular day where my wife would say, okay, she's like, okay, God, do you want to do this or not? And we're getting towards the end of this decision time. And she pretty much recalls praying this: God, if you want us to leave this country, if you want us to leave all of our people behind, and if you want us to go to the United States, you have got to put it in black and white, unmistakably clear. Like, not ambiguous, not metaphor. You have got to put it in black and white and make it absolutely
Was this prayer
clear.
Together?
She's on her own.
Just on her own. Got it. And while she's reading the book separately, you guys are discerning.
And as one particular day, I think she was driving on the way to the high school where 2 of my boys were attending.
Okay.
She was going there to collect them after school. They'd had practice for one of their sports. She was on her way. She gets there early. She'd thrown her Bible in the car. She knew she'd be early. She opens up her Bible that day, having been in prayer on those particular things.
Right.
You want me to leave like my family, my people, and go here, leave this country, make it clear. That day, she opens her Bible. She's in Acts chapter 7. Acts chapter 7, verse 3. Verse 3 of chapter 7 says these words: leave your country and your people and go to the place I am showing you.
In the car.
At
the high school.
Having
black
prayed,
and white.
Boom.
Make it black and white.
She closes her Bible. I get a text message. The text message says, we're going. That's all it says. We're going. I respond with a what 25 question marks, exclamation points.
Yeah.
What?
Where change? And what's the time frame of this change?
I mean, this was all, we were doing this in 1 month. So this is like
I mean, from the time that you said we need to go to the time that she came to this decision, where were you at before now you're on unity making?
We were about a month in.
Okay.
Yeah, a month or so in.
Now, were your kids in the same boat, or was it still out?
Well, when we first told the kids that this was the journey we're going to go on, 3 of the 4 kids like broke down in tears. And the one kid who we thought would be the most cataclysmically affected was chill.
Ready to go.
Like, This is good. We're like, this makes no sense. This makes no sense. The one we were freaking out about the most was the most chill. So they're all things that are all part of this journey. So she gets that. I then send a text message back saying like what? She then says, read Acts 7:3. I open it to Acts. I'm in Acts 16. I've blown through that verse. Yeah. But that hadn't been my specific prayer. Needless to say, we have a family tattoo. I only have one bit of ink on my body. And our family tattoo is Acts 7:3 with an arrowhead. I'll talk about the arrowhead in another episode. So in the journey of in the middle then, from saying we are going to then arriving, that was then, the decision was a hard one.
Yeah.
But it was then the waiting and the preparing and the getting ready and the saying goodbye and the doubts and the naysayers and the friends who stopped being friends and the acquaintances who came alongside us suddenly as friends. That's where life really got, it was in the middle. Yep. When you make the decision to leave, you step out. We didn't just arrive the day after. That's when it was really there. But in the middle, you've got to come to a point where, what's our why? What is our why? Why are we doing this? Okay, like don't go back. No turning back. When you've got your why, doesn't make it necessarily pain-free.
Yeah.
But you know your direction you have to go in. That was kind of it.
And the last question, I guess I'd say, even for people that are new to walking to this faith, when they're in the middle and they're finding a way to discover their why.
Yeah.
How do they do that when they're new to this Christianity faith? Or, you came to this by the way of Jesus. Yeah. How can you give definition to the in the middle for a Christian that's new?
Yeah.
How did they get there?
I think for everybody in every walk of life, life is really where it matters is in the middle. Yeah. So how do they get there? There's multiple ways of discernment. I think who you're walking with in life is really important. Yeah. Really important. Who is right alongside you? For me, obviously, it was my wife and then my family. They were the loudest voices. Everybody else, there's a voice in my life, but who were the loudest voices in your life? That's really important, really important. If you're a follower of Jesus, then absolutely, this is where your prayer is dialogue. Prayer is dialogue.
Yeah.
That's where even reading the scriptures, get somebody alongside who can help you navigate that and hear that. Spending time, inviting God to make his dwelling in you. Really important. And then from that, I would say the number one thing is, depending on where you are, who are you walking with? Who are those people who you have entrusted big decisions in your life to?
Yeah.
That's called wisdom. Scriptures talk about it. He who walks with the wise grows wise.
Yeah.
But a companion of fools suffers harm. And you go, But then there's the flip of that, where ultimately I've got to trust in God, because there's a scripture that says, fear of man, in other words, what mankind thinks, what people think, will prove to be a trap.
Yeah.
But he who trusts in the Lord is kept safe. And so navigating that. So that's what I'm saying. This in the middle, it's like a dance, man.
Yeah, I'm so excited to walk through this in the middle. Just on the years of I'm excited to maybe even challenge and hear it from a different perspective, even translate some of these in the middle and how you're getting us to this why in my life. Yeah. And even for maybe a new Christian, how do they get to that why in their life? Yeah. I just think this is going to be a really fun episodes of kind of walking through different aspects of in the middle, and you walking us through that and what that's going to look like. And I really see now the picture of what this is going to be, and this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I think there's a it's kind of cliche, but I'm not who I was.
Yeah.
But I'm not who I'm becoming, but I'm on the way. And that's it. And I think this generation specifically are so bombarded with, you need to be this, you need to be a certain thing. What is your career choice? Get it nailed down. And they find themselves really insecure in, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
But is I'm not sure yet that bad? No. I don't think it's that bad. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're super safe when you're on one side of the shore. I'm safe. I'm not doing anything. I'm just chilling. And I'm safe when I've got there. But that in the middle,
the pressures of the world or whatever,
everything
put you to a side instead of.
And there's so much there, you know, and many of people know I've been in the last 2 years of my life so driven by the concept of the bison and why that American
this is a really
buffalo,
good story. Yeah, tell that story.
Why that is such a big deal, and I'm still discovering more about that animal and how it affects us. So back end of 2021, I just knew, okay, there's a season change coming up, posture, my own life, the life for us as a church, where do we go with that? And then I was impacted by this animal, the American buffalo, the bison. And it was the only mammal that could sense when a storm was coming to do the opposite of what every other creature in the world does. When animals are more sensitive to storms brewing than humans, they can sense it. So when they sense a storm brewing, they get out of there. They take shelter, or they go in the opposite direction. They go, left or right, or they run away. Makes a ton of sense.
And the bison is the only
mammal that I know of that when a storm is coming, a blizzard is coming, they turn in the direction of it and they go towards it. Now, here's the advantage of that. They are in the storm the shortest amount of time because they're going in the opposite direction of it coming. So they pass it. They're going this way, storm's coming this way, and they go through it. Yeah. So they're not in it so long, but they go into the eye of it. They are in it. They face the storm. And it was then when I was like, okay, what's all that about? Was it because we're not in it as much? But then you look at the structure of the bison and it's built with this head to face a storm and this neck and hump on its shoulders that looks like a snowplow. So they go into the blizzard and they are marching through the blizzard, through the storm, through the snow. And when the storm has passed, they have made a pathway for those after the storm to walk in. And you go, wow. They have made a pathway for the other animals to find the creek after the storm. They've taken it on. And so I'm like, where are the people who are prepared to go into the storm, face it, go into it for the benefit of the people behind them? And I was so inspired by that. And I went, wow, here we go. Now, the benefit of the bison is because what they were doing in the storm was making a way for those afterwards. So I'm like, there you go. In the middle of the storm, they were making a way for other people. In the middle of it. In the middle. And I think we navigate storms in life and we think, oh, I've just got to survive in here. But has it ever crossed your mind that when you're in the middle of it, that's when your purpose is being most put to fruition. That's when your identity is being most formed and challenged. That's where legacy is really made. In it. And so we face these storms and we just think, just hang on, it'll all be good. But I'm like, maybe we should navigate life and its storms with a different perspective, a different attitude. And we may find the impact of it is way beyond what we can imagine. So yeah, we'll talk about storms of life.
I mean, on that note, I can't wait for episode 2. Anyways, moving on. I'm excited for the episodes to come. I'm excited to just walk through in the middle with you guys. I think that if you're in a place, as a young individual, if you're in a place where you are even at the shore and you're about to enter the storm, I think this is a podcast for you. I think if you are in the middle right now and you're wading through the storm. You're not going to walk the other direction. You're walking in the middle of it, as Des is saying. So I hope you join us. It's Des, it's every other Wednesday, right?
Yep.
Every other Wednesday.
In the middle of the week.
In the middle of the week. We're going to put this podcast out, and it'll just be stories of in the middle. It'll just be helping hand for the believers, and I will be sure to help new believers find that way and ultimately find their why. So
yeah, and I want to lean in and say, I want us to talk about physical health, relational health, emotional and mental health. They're all in the middle. Maybe you've got decisions in life to make. It all affects the middle. And so I've been through highs and lows of all of those different walks of life. I want us to look at everything and jump into the middle of it.
Well, we will see you next Wednesday. Thank you, Grace Community Church, for hosting this podcast.
Yep.
Des.
Thanks, Zoran.
All right. See ya. This is going to be good. I think that now I see it. I just needed, I'm going to just.
Great.
Did you feel good about it? I'm just going to ask questions about, what does that mean for me as a young Des?
It's great.
It doesn't have to be me all the time, but I think
I think it's great. I think it's great. My top 5 movies of all time. When I look at those movies and think, what is it? They're all about something's not right. I need to do something about it.
Yeah.
And the tension of the movie is it's the middle, man.
Yeah. This is a great topic.